A busy night last night for Premier League Everton. They eventually just got past non-league Boreham Wood to set up an FA Cup quarter-final against Crystal Palace. What a fight Boreham Wood put up, Martin. 77 places below them in the pyramid. They showed guts, desire, stoicism. It was a super advert for the National League.
Oh, without doubt. You look at the quality of the players down there, and we know some of them can play at a much higher level. There's absolutely no doubt about that. It was tricky for Everton just to get over the line and win that one. And it's going to get even more difficult for Everton when you look at their fixture list coming up. They don't play till Monday night. They play Spurs. I think they play Wolves, Newcastle. Huge games, getting dragged into that. Young manager making his way back into the game. And it's a tough moment for Everton. It's a really difficult period in the season when you look around, looking over their shoulder at Newcastle and people gathering pace. Burnley.
But can you really take too much from a game against Boreham Wood? Because actually it's a huge occasion for them, probably the biggest game of their life. They're going to fight 150% to get something from the game. The Everton players, much changed Everton lineup last night, not going to be as highly motivated to take on Boreham Wood as they will be, for example, when they take on Newcastle in a couple of days'
Well, yeah,
time.
but I don't think you look at it that way, Sam. You're a player. You want to be a part of the future. You know, it's an opportunity to impress the manager again. You know, you're looking at young Kenny coming into the team last night. Thought he played quite well in a 3. Gordon on the left side. He's the sort of shining light of the team. So there's opportunities. I like the midfield. I look at the calibre of player with certainly Allen. You know, if he was to arrive at Arsenal Football Club, I'm pretty certain they'd be delighted. They've got some really good players in there. So Frank's got good players to work with. He's just got to get the results on the pitch. So it was another opportunity for almost a full-scale training match for him. Yeah. They were always going to win that game. I don't think it was that impressive, and the team's stuttering, but they got the result, and that's the important thing now. He's got time, though, between now and Monday to build and put things together, but they are under huge pressure, Everton, right now.
I think we all thought that they were going to win and win well. You and I sat in the sports bar last night watching the game, having bet on 4 and 5-0 score lines.
I followed you on that.
It quite materialised like that.
No, I think it will do Rondon's confidence the world of good. I know it's, again, non-league opposition.
He missed a great chance.
He did miss a great chance, but he still scored 2 goals, and he's someone they might need between now and the end of the season, because Dominic Calvert-Lewin's form since his return from injury hasn't exactly been stellar. But I think the fact they've struggled to put a non-league team to bed doesn't really help, Martin, does it? No. With confidence and belief that they're going to need going into what is a tricky end to the season, because they're not safe from relegation. I don't think anybody would have predicted that when they started the season so well in August under Rafa Benitez.
And we talk about the fixtures. The game against Newcastle is huge as well.
Coming up on talkSPORT, yeah.
Coming up on the horizon. And then this little game against, they've drawn Palace in the FA Cup. That's an interesting one. Vieira and Frank, they were together, weren't they, in New York?
Yeah.
New York FC. So
2 icons of the Premier League
players.
midfield.
There's an awful lot to play. I think Frank Lampard will be an outstanding manager, but I think he's just got to navigate his way through the season to keep them in the Premier League.
Yep, they've got Tottenham on Monday night, then they take on Wolves the following Sunday, then that game live on talkSPORT, Everton against Newcastle. We'll also be bringing you Crystal Palace against Everton in the quarterfinals of the FA Cup, which also drew out Middlesbrough versus Chelsea, a replay of the 1997 FA Cup final.
You remember that well, don't
Roberto Di Matteo scored after 43 seconds. It was a very good goal. I'd actually broken my ankle ahead of that game.
Would you have played otherwise?
Otherwise, I'd have been in the team, yeah. Southampton versus Manchester City. That's a big game, isn't it? Because, of course, Southampton are the only team in the Premier League not to have lost to Manchester City this season.
Really? What about Spurs?
Is that right?
What about Spurs?
Oh, Spurs. No,
Spurs beat them
twice. Yeah.
Apart from that, though, it's a brilliant stat.
Yeah.
Goodness me, Sam. I shouldn't be pulling you up on statistics.
No, you shouldn't really.
Martin and I, before we came on air over a coffee and a breakfast burrito, were sharing our mutual appreciation of Ralph Hasenhuttl. You were really impressed with what he did tactically against West Ham in midweek.
Quite brilliant. To make 9 changes, first of all, I think that demonstrates the belief he's got in his squad. He knows those players. I mean, Smallbone, for instance, came in, player that... And the way that they take on board the information, certainly their wide players, is quite a difficult, detailed job, but they take it on board beautifully. There's this kind of playlist that he gives each player, a way of fast-tracking and learning how they take on board the roles and responsibility in the team. You could see that was evident in that game. And then, one by one, they started to bring on the firepower. And Broja was absolutely magnificent with the power and the strength he shows, the finesse for the goal. And they're going places. They really are going places.
Do you have any sympathy or do you give any encouragement to Crookie when he suggests that maybe Ralph Hasenhuttl should be a contender for the Manchester United job at the end of the season? Is that a little bit outlandish?
With his connections with Ranić, I think it is a possibility.
They don't get on.
Well, that doesn't matter. As long as Ranić can identify clearly what those management skills that he's got. Now, they're out of the same book, but it's one thing to put things into practice. Ranić works from this theory of high press. They all want to play the same way. But I believe that Hasenhuttl a better teacher. He's better at leading and getting that information across to his players. That's evident. You can see the way. I know there's these 2 9-0 defeats that people want to stab against him in a way.
But one of those, he played the kids at Old Trafford. They had so many injury problems.
There was a player sent off after 30 seconds.
There was on his debut.
They still lost 9-0.
They went down to 9 players that day.
Anybody else lost that 9-0 at Old Trafford in recent times?
Ipswich.
Under recent times, Martin was still in his 20s when Ipswich lost their 9-0. Loads of people texted me and said, Liverpool haven't lost to City this season.
They've only played them once, in fairness to you.
Crystal Palace haven't lost to them either because they've only played them the once. Yes, but my point is that Southampton will pose a challenge for them. Okay, hands up. Just tell me a little bit about what you think about the rest of the draw. Nottingham Forest against or Huddersfield against Liverpool. That could be quite a tasty tie, couldn't it?
It could be. The way that Forest have knocked out Premier League teams already.
They've got to get past Huddersfield first. But
they've got to get past. I mean, that could be the banana peel that they slip on.
Banana skin?
Banana skin, that's it, yeah. I want you to correct me now because I can't have it. I
shouldn't be correcting you on food, you know.
No, really. Not watching me eat this morning. In fact, I didn't have my fruit this morning. Maybe that's why. So I think Nottingham have been quite magnificent the way that they've gone through. And when you look at the FA Cup, it just keeps on producing, doesn't it? You know, these sort of upsets. Would we see another one along the way in this competition? So, no, really pleased to see Forest trying to get back to the way where I went to cover their game the last round, and it just feels nostalgic when you go to that ground. When you look back, nothing's changed too much from the Cloughy years. And those people of Nottingham have suffered for a long time now, not been in the Premier League for a good 20 years plus.
Really good job,
so he's done an amazing job when you think they were a foot of the table when he went there. So I'm interested to see how far they can go, Nottingham.
I saw them the other day, and it was a bit of a throwback to Sheffield United. Watching Sheffield United, overlapping centre-backs creating and scoring goals. Very impressive.
Well, and Chris Wilder as well.
Indeed.
We should mention what he's done.
Yes, he's done a fantastic job.
And there's a man who, he got into the Premier League. Okay, things went wrong at Sheffield United, but very much the success was about him. And then when he, there was nobody wanted him. And if he wants to get back in the Premier League, he's going to have to do it on his own merit once more. And who would back against him doing that? A long way maybe from doing it this time round, but he's really been magnificent.
I wouldn't be surprised if they get into the playoffs this year. And if they do get into the playoffs, they've got every single chance because there's a lot of players that have got used to big game experiences now, and they've done very, very well. So good luck to them as well.